You want to open up to your wife, but anytime you do, she uses it against you. It's a really frustrating time because you want to make things better, but all your efforts just seem to be making things worse. My name's Luke Finn, and I'm the founder of the ARC system, where we help dads transform a marriage in crisis into a new unbreakable marriage. And today I'm joined by our ARC legends to give you some advice in your marriage. So let's welcome the guys on board. ARC legends assemble. How are you beautiful motherfuckers doing? You good?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Welcome, guys. So today we're going to be answering your questions, and we're going to be sharing 3 steps that you can take to communicate effectively with your wife and rebuild emotional safety. So the question that we have today, guys, is from Jonathan from the US. Jonathan asks, how can I just discuss emotions with them without them being used as ammunition? So, Jonathan, we feel your pain. I think we have all felt this in one way or another at some point, where we feel like, you know what, we want to share what's going on with ourselves, and our wives store it in the memory and they use it at a later point, and we're like, why did I open up? This feels like it's been used against me. So it's difficult one, Jonathan, and we're going to help you navigate that today. And make sure to stick around to the end, because at the end of this training today, we're also going to share with you a communication framework to help you rebuild the emotional safety in your relationship. So, Cowboy and Falcon, before we get into this, let's give a little bit of a caveat, because as you guys know, I'm quite active on social media, and I see a lot of comments online when it comes to wives blaming and shaming or shutting us down. I first want to talk about something that's I find really important, is what a lot of people are very quick to jump to name calling or labeling somebody, right? So my wife turns things against me. So she's a narcissist or she's whatever. So I find that really, really unhelpful. You know, at the end of the day, we're human beings. We all have some behaviors that aren't particularly good, and that these behaviors can be changed. When we label somebody, we say, you're a narcissist, or you're whatever else, we end up putting them in the box, and it makes it hard for them to change, and it makes it hard for us to change our behavior towards them. Now, I was watching an interesting podcast recently from Dr. Andrew Huberman, and his guest was Eddy, who is an expert with dealing with high conflict people. And he was on that podcast talking about how to deal with high conflict people. And what I'll do is I'll drop this link down below for anybody that's interested in watching that podcast. It was very interesting. But what they covered on that podcast, part of it, was that people with actual personality disorders in the US, there's only 9% of people that are actually have this disorder. 9%. So there's a 91% chance that if your wife is behaving in an unhealthy way, that it's not a personality disorder, but it is something that can be worked on. So I'll drop that link down below. And I think it's really important that we kind of step back, and rather than putting a label on somebody, we look at, okay, what can I change myself, and how can I support them? Because at the end of the day, we're all here helping you to create a new unbreakable marriage. You love your wife, so you want to do your best here to help her, work on herself as well. Okay, guys. So now that we've covered that caveat about, okay, let's take personality disorders out of this, and let's just assume that Jonathan, like you guys have been in a loving relationship and things just started to go in a bad direction. Okay, what do you guys think is the reason? Why is Jonathan's wife, when he shares his emotions, is she using it as ammunition at a later point? What do you think, Cowboy? You want to share?
Yeah. Well, this thing, you got to remember, this thing is it's something that it took a long time to build up to this point. So there's a lot of resentment, a lot of anger built up there. And quite frankly, she's not interested in your emotions at that point. Like after that's come up, she's only interested in her own, and she's in her own feelings. And I'm speaking from my own experience here. She's in her own feelings, and what's that phrase that goes on? It's hurt people hurt people. So it's exactly that. When you have so much time, and like so much time where there's so much distance and space going on, and there's so much resentment being built up for whatever reason, it's just gonna it's just gonna trickle down throughout everything in your relationship, and she's gonna look out for herself.
Right. What about yourself, Falcon? What do you think is the reason why John is
Yeah,
going in the space?
I mean, I agree with Cowboy. A resentment. I also do feel like it has to do with emotional safety. Not obviously we all want to be vulnerable. We all wanna we all want to be able to share, and sharing is quite easy. But if you don't have that space where it has respect or trust, um, then that's when you start that's where your feelings and emotions get used against you. Um, I mean, what you really want to do, you just want to be able to connect, and you want that honesty.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that emotional safety or that space, that's really, that's where you start to, they st- you know, people start to weaponize that against
Right.
each other.
Exactly. Resentment builds. So for any of you that are not familiar with emotional safety, stick around to the end of this video where we're going to help you rebuild that, and we'll explain that in more detail. But ultimately, emotional safety is that we feel safe to share everything, what's going on for us, without our partners judging us or making us feel bad, right? Okay, guys, that's really good. Yeah. So what's going on here for sure in Jonathan's relationship is resentment has built up. Now, why don't we share a little bit of context with everybody who's watching the video today? How can resentment show up in relationship, guys? So, Cowboy, let's start off with you. How did resentment show up in your marriage?
Oh my God, dude, constant.
Sorry, man. I don't want to let this going to
That
get into a shit show now. Therapy. Here we go.
PTSD.
No, yeah, I'm just getting flashbacks
Bring
here.
up the
Let's
past.
say,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's a just constant, continuous criticism. Nothing was ever good enough. Nothing was ever right. I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't even clean the diaper the right way. The diapers on the kids the right way. I couldn't even change the diapers on the kids the right way. They or things that I would do anyway. Like I make a lot of little bits of furniture. I just have a lot of little crafts that I do, and it even got down to the point where there's things that she had no clue what to do. It was and she was telling me how to do them. Just criticizing every last little thing. I
And how was that affecting you, man? That your wife was so belittling you or constantly having a go?
it made me just not want to do anything. It made me not want to do anything at all. I kind of recluse myself into a shell so that I wouldn't have to show any sort of joy or emotion or anything at all in order to, try to avoid hearing this. I had
Yeah.
no motivation. I had no drive. I just didn't want to I just didn't want to do really anything at all, even down to real basic tasks that was required on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. I think criticism is like kryptonite for us.
Mhm.
Like, especially over a long period of time. I think all of us can take a bit of criticism every now and then. I mean, we're not perfect, and constructive criticism is important, but when it's just getting down and and you get the feeling like you can do nothing right, then it starts getting really tough. Thanks for sharing that, Cowboy. What about you, Falcon? How did resentment show up in your marriage?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what Cowboy said. It was, especially when like your past mistakes were highlighted and thrown in your face,
Yeah.
especially during arguments, right? And then, like like passive aggressive comments or sarcasm, especially when they're like emotional jabs, like masked as their truth.
Yeah.
And it becomes a like a mental scoreboard, where everything, all the negatives always uh, being tracked as opposed to all the
Positive.
positive.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
That's a
and
tough,
it's
and
like,
it's when it gets to that point, it feels like a really difficult task to turn things around, right?
yeah, you stop opening up, you start, managing, and you just become a shell, like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
All right. So what I'm hearing here is, signs of resentment, guys, are criticism, uh, conflict, more arguments, contempt, which is what you were talking about there, Falcon, which is apparently from Gottman Institute the number one indicator that it's going towards a divorce when that's showing up in your relationship. Defensiveness, right, where you can't say anything and it's taken the wrong way, and then also withdrawing, so pulling away, shutting down, like you're talking about, Falcon, that if you get enough hits where you feel like you kind of open up, you withdraw, and so our wives can do the same thing. Now, guys, if you're finding this talk valuable today, do us a favor, smash the like button. It helps us reach more men that want to transform the marriage. So smash the like button, and we're going to drop some more wisdom here. So we've covered what's going on in Jonathan's marriage. What's really going on is this resentment. And Jonathan, what's important here is not so much what to do when your wife is acting this way. You're going to actually get make more progress by doing by focusing on what not to do. Okay, so let's talk about the mistakes that Jonathan can avoid to make sure that he's not eroding that emotional safety, and he can start changing the dynamics in the relationship. So the first one here is the biggest mistake that men and women make is when we make generalizations. Let's see from Falcon and Cowboy, who's ever done that before? The generalization where we get worked up and we're like, you never give a shit, or you're always late, or you never care about me. These are generalizations. It's like a situation comes up and we generalize. So we just make a blanket statement about how it's always like this. And this is really, really unhealthy. It will get your wife to withdraw. So men and women, I don't want to although we are obviously just talking to dads here, from your side is, let's not make generalizations. We want to stay specific to the issue at hand, right? And not make generalizations. This is a huge one, and this is from male and female perspective. Let's get a show of hands here again from Cowboy and Falcon. I know I've been definitely guilty of this in the past. Issue stacking, right? One thing comes up, and we decide, we get so worked up, we then just drop, okay, all the other shit that we're pissed off about. You didn't pick the kids up on time. You didn't, I don't know, get me a birthday present, whatever. Just everything comes up, right, at once. Don't issue stack, because you lose focus on the one issue at hand. Same thing with generalization. The key here, guys, is really when we want to resolve issues, is we want to stay on point. What happens a lot of time when we get into conflict with our wives is everything gets brought up and we digress. We go off on different paths, and then we never get to actually resolve the issue at hand. So definitely, Jonathan, don't stack issues. Don't bring up everything that you're upset with about your wife. Just let's tackle on one thing, or focus on one thing, tackle one subject. Or make it a character fault. So I can't say I've done this very often, because I hate, like I was talking at the beginning, labeling, saying you're this type of person, when you're a narcissist, you're this. But when we make it a character fault, saying like, this is who you are, it's your identity, you're not giving your wife the space to change, right? And that's not what you want. Ultimately, if you're watching these videos, you want your wife to change, but it all starts with you. We have to change. And the last thing that we want to do is label our wives, saying it's their identity, because then it basically means it's impossible to change anything in your relationship. And the one thing that we all know in the ARC system is true is our ability to change. We're extremely dynamic as human beings, both male and female. And the final one here, guys, I think a lot of us do this, is invalidate emotions. So let's get a show of hands. Who's ever done that before, either knowingly or unknowingly? I've definitely done it unknowingly before. Invalidating emotions means your wife comes and shares with you, right? She comes and shares about a problem that she's unhappy with about the relationship. And we just either tell her, it's not that way, right? No, it didn't happen like that. So it happened this way, right? Or we say, when I said that, I actually meant this. So we either deny that it happened that way, or we start explaining why we behaved that way. Or we try and fix the issue straight away. We start saying, well, look, in future, I'll talk to you at this time when you have an issue. I'll talk to you in this way or whatever. I'm giving terrible examples here, but we try and fix it straight away. In all three cases here, we're not listening to your wife's her emotions, right? Who knows that? Like, actually, you hit on this earlier, Falcon, right? What we want as human beings is to be understood, right? And what we learn in the ARC system is that there are no right or wrong emotions. And ultimately, we want to be able to share from our heart and for our wives to be able to hold space.
Yeah.
Right? Cowboy, how important has that been for you in your marriage since you learned to step back and stop, trying to be right and actually just listen to Paula's emotions and to hold space for her?
It's been night and day different. I'm not one to, get sucked into emotions. I come from a very rigid thought process.
You're a reformed ice guy.
Yeah. It either is or it isn't. That's the way I see it. It's black and white, and you can always find. I don't really believe too much in the gray area. So it's been night and day difference, and taking a dive into the gray area, if you will, has really kind of helped out with that a lot. And she's become more open, more vulnerable, if you will. More trusting is really what it boils down to. More trusting that she's going to be able to express what she needs to express and be seen and heard.
Yeah. And what was key to that for you, actually, so we don't go too long on this one, right? What was key for you was learning how to regulate your emotions, step back, right? And not take everything so personally. So if this is so resonating with you guys, and you'd like to learn exactly what Cowboy's learned, I'd recommend checking the link down below and enroll in our ARC Masterclass. It's a free masterclass, 1 hour, where we'll go deeper into the ARC system, explain exactly what Cowboy is talking about here today. Wonderful. Okay, so we've now covered what the mistakes that we shouldn't make when our wives are bringing up the past. I think it's now time let's get into actually 3 steps to now move forward and start improving the relationship and the communication. So 3 steps, Jonathan, here you go, for when your wife is throwing your emotions back in your face. The first one, we heard it there from Cowboy and Falcon. It's what you learn about also in our masterclass, is you got to stay calm, right? Have either of you, when things got heated with your wives, have either of you ever gotten worked up and things went well? A little bit of feedback there. No.
Not at all.
No. When we do that, it goes sideways quickly when we get worked up. It's so important, and nobody teaches us is emotional regulation between breath work. We got in the ARC system, we teach different methodology, tapping, emotional freedom technique, visualization. There's lots of different techniques out there to regulate your emotions, and it's so key, because if we lose our shit, things go sideways very, very fast. So yeah, the first one here, Jonathan, is you got to stay calm when your wife is bringing up things from the past. She knows you better than anyone. She knows where those buttons are. That's what our wives do. They know where to press, although it's usually subconsciously or unconsciously. They know where to press, but it can get us worked up. And if we take the bait, then things usually go sideways fast. The second one is don't take it personally. This is huge, Jonathan. Your wife throwing stuff in your face. And now, if we assume that the way you communicated, how you communicated was correct, which I no offense, I doubt, and that's why you want to stick around to the end of this video, where we're going to help you communicate more effectively. I'm almost 100% certain that your communication can be improved here, because how we communicate really matters. But let's assume that you did communicate it well and your wife threw it in your face. Then this is nothing to do about you. It's all about her. It's about her own shit. So don't take it personally. And Falcon and Cowboy, how did things shift in your relationships? How much more freedom did it give in your relationships once you stopped taking it personally? How did that things change for you when your wives brought up things, the stuff from the past, and you stopped taking it personally? How did it affect you? What big changes did you see?
I felt like I started to lead with boundaries. Um,
Yeah.
um, I wasn't really oversharing. I shared with intention.
Yeah.
It wasn't out of desperation. It wasn't to validate. It was mostly, to be free and, be heard.
Nice, man. You should definitely copyright that because you guys know how I love to steal your wisdom off you and then put it out there. So we're gonna do hashtag share with intention. You heard it. It came from me first. Nice one. Okay. What about yourself, Cowboy? So
Once I figured out how to not take things so personally, it shifted my whole thought process, and like at the same time, it didn't give my wife any room or leeway, if you will, to give her any ammunition to use later.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we
just
usually
you just kind of shrug it off. It's like, all right, well,
yeah.
that's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, because when we take the bait, we usually end up getting fired up and we say some more stuff that
Mhm.
just we dig our hole, we dig the grave.
Mhm.
Right, and the final thing is to communicate like a boss. Now, you guys have obviously been in the ARC system over a year, so you know how to communicate really effectively. This is so important to rebuild emotional safety. We need to know how to start up conversations, how to not fall into some of the traps that your wife can put out there. Not again, this is not conscious; it's all unconsciously. It makes a huge difference when we know how to speak to our wives. So now you understand what's going on when your wife's bringing up resentment. You're going to want to watch this next video on how to rebuild emotional safety and communicate like a boss.